Hi there, this is Mr. Srebnick, and we're going to be learning in this video about how to solve and check equations one step at a time. And by one step, I mean that all of these equations can be solved using only one solving step. I'm going to show you how to solve each of these 6 equations using 4 different techniques. First, by adding to both sides. Second, by subtracting. Third, by dividing both sides by something. Then, fourth, by multiplying. And then in these last 2, we'll look at how to solve using reciprocals. So let's take a look at our first 2 problems. First, we have x plus 2 equals 5. Now, because x plus 2 and 5 are equal, if we subtract the same thing from each side of the equation will still be true. So we'll just subtract 2 from each side to get rid of the 2 and isolate the x. That is, make the x be all by itself. Subtract 2 from each side, and we get x equals 3. And we can check that by plugging x back into the equation. And we substitute for x, 3 plus 2 equals 5. Now we know that the equation is correct. If you take a look at the next one over here, y minus 7 equals 15. In this one, subtracting from both sides won't work, but adding will. If we add 7 to each side, we'll remove the 7 from the left-hand side, leaving just y. That means isolating y. And on the right-hand side, we'll have the solution. So we'll add 7 to each side, and we get y equals 22. And now we check the solution by substituting 22 for y into the equation. 22 minus 7 equals 15, and that's true. Now I'd like you to try the 2 problems at the bottom of the page. Write the problems and the solutions in your journal. Stop the video and restart it when you're done. Okay, now I'll quickly show you the solutions to those 2. For the first one, we'll subtract 10 from each side, and we get x equals 82. And then we check it by substituting 82 into the equation. 82 plus 10 equals 92. That's correct, and we're good. On the right side, y minus 4 equals negative 3. We add 4 to each side, and we find that y equals 1. And then if we substitute 1 back into the equation, 1 minus 4 does equal negative 3, and our solutions are correct. Now let's move on to the next 2 problems. Problem on the left we can solve using division. The problem is 3 times z equals 10, and because it's 3 times z, we'll use the inverse operation, which is division, to solve. If we divide each side by 3, we'll get z equals 10/3. And we can check that by substituting 10/3 back into the equation, and we can see that 3 times 10/3 equals 10. On the right-hand side, the equation 8 equals t divided by 4, t over 4. T is divided by 4. The inverse operation of division is multiplication, so we'll multiply each side by 4 to solve this. If we multiply the left side by 4, we get 32. If we multiply the right side by 4, t over 4 times 4, 4's cancel, and we just get t, so t equals 32. And we'll quickly check that to see that 8 does equal 32 over 4. Now I'd like you to try these next 2 problems. Stop the video while you do them, and then restart it when you do it. When you're done, please put the answers into your journal. Okay, now I'll quickly check the problem on the left and the problem on the right to see the solutions and the check to make sure that the solutions are correct. Now, in these last 2 problems, the coefficient of m, or the number that multiplies m, is a fraction. And the easiest way to get rid of a fraction in this case, or use an inverse operation, is to multiply by the reciprocal of the fraction. In the first one, we're going to multiply each side of the equation by 3/2, which is the reciprocal of 2/3, and that should give us our answer. So we multiply the left side by 3/2, 3 halves times 2/3 is just 1, so that leaves us 1 times m. And on the right side, we multiply 16 by 3 halves, and we get 48 over 2, or 24. We can check that answer by substituting 24 back into the equation, and we find that 2/3 times 24, 2/3 of 24, equals 16. So that answer is correct. On the right-hand side, we have 3z over 2 equals 9. When we see a number and variable written that way, we can rewrite it as 3 halves times z equals 9. So if we do that, we can see that we need to multiply by the reciprocal of 3 halves, which is 2/3. We'll multiply both sides by that, and we'll get 2/3 times 3 halves is 1, so that's just z on the left, equals 9 times 2/3, which is 18 over 3, which is 6. We then substitute 6 back in the equation to check it. 6 times 3 is 18, over 2 is 9, so that's correct. Now I'd like you to try the 2 equations at the bottom. Please solve them, and then we'll check your answers right at the end. Okay, now we'll check your answers. We'll just do the math down here, and you can check your answers.